My flow is untouchable. Now you got to face it. It gets worse when I go back to the basics, say the wrong shit, and get your whole face split. This is Mark Bell from supertraining.tv. Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. We have questions to get to here at the Power Project today. And question number one is from a guy named Mark Halling. And Mark wants to know about sprint work. Can he incorporate sprint work along with doing powerlifting? And of course you can. A lot of times you guys got to use your noggin. You got to use this big old dome right here. And you got to try to make sense of the things you're hearing. You said that you asked this question somewhere else, and they told you that the central nervous system fatigue will kick in and blah, blah, blah. What you failed to mention, though, in your email was kind of like your goals. Are you a power lifter? Are you just a recreational heavy lifter, and you want to stay in shape and you want to stay conditioned? Because all those things matter. If you want to be cream of the crop in powerlifting, I don't really know a lot of powerlifters that sprint. I'm not saying that you can't sprint. I'm not saying that no one does. I just am unaware of any that really mess around with it all that often. And I would say this, though: if you're going to sprint to help improve your powerlifting, I'd only sprint at like 75 or 80%. I wouldn't really go, well, I'd definitely avoid going to 100%, that's for sure. And maybe sometimes kicking it in a little bit and getting to about 90%. But I would not suggest going full blast, full speed, full bore. I'm not going to say that's going to cut into your nervous system. It's just going to simply cut into your recovery. Let's simplify it. You're going to be freaking sore from running super fast. I would also suggest not running on a flat surface. I would run up a hill. I found that when I was doing pro wrestling, I was a pro wrestler. That's why I'm able to talk a bunch of shit all day long, because I can talk smack in my sleep, because I was a pro wrestler for 5 years. So when I was doing wrestling, I used to run hills and run stadiums. I found that to be a lot more effective than going out and doing regular sprints. And the reason was, it took me 3 or 4 days to recover from regular sprints. So what I would do is I'd sprint about 50 to 75 yards up a hill. If you can find a good hill, that's a pretty long hill. But I did have access to a good hill. Sprint about, let's just say, 50 yards. Walk back down, take your sweet ass time on the way down, sprint back up. And again, do so not at 100%, but maybe a little bit more, like 80%, something like that. And start out just doing it a couple times, and then have a longer rest period. Do it like 3 times, and then have like about a 5 or 6 minute rest period to get that back down to the bottom of the hill, and try like one more round of it. And then maybe the next week you add a little bit more. That would be a great form of GPP for powerlifting, and I don't see any problem with it. However, if you're trying to move up a weight class, trying to get bigger, if you notice that it starts to impede your training at all, you're going to have to cut it back a little bit. But I'm not going to be one of these guys who's going to tell you that you can't carry a bag of groceries and then deadlift the next day. You should still be a fully functional human being. We are big giant mutants as it is, and we should be able to kick ass and do whatever the hell it is we want to do. Part of the reason why you got into all this junk, well, was to hook up with chicks, but part of the reason why you got into all this mess, got into all this stuff, was to be strong, was to be healthy, was to look like you train, and the other part of that was just to be functional, be different than other people, be able to move around and be able to kick some ass if you had to. If called upon, you can whoop someone's ass, I hope. Anyway, the type of GPP that we do at Super Training, I admittedly do not do enough of it. I should do more of it. I should incorporate it 3 or 4 times a week after training sessions, and also on off days and things like that. I just simply do not get around to it as much as I would like. I probably get to it about 2 times a week, but I'd like to step that up a little bit more. Here's a simple way to add GPP, general physical preparedness. Basically what you're trying to do is trying to increase your physical preparedness for whatever it is you're going to do. You're trying to increase your conditioning so you can recover faster from your workouts. It's very simple. Like if you want to start, running a mile, day one you're not going to go out the gate and try to run a mile, because you're going to destroy yourself. You're going to pace yourself over a period of time until you can run a mile without any problem. And for some people that might be easy. They might be able to go out day one and run a mile. But for others, they're going to have to build up to it. They're going to have some general physical preparedness. Maybe you do some sprint work for a few weeks until you start getting some conditioning. You start feeling your running patterns, start to feel how you run, feel how you move. You're learning all these things as you go along. Then you start to run a little further, and so on and so forth. You're getting yourself ready, some readiness for whatever it is you're about to do. In this case, we're only talking about powerlifting, but powerlifting takes a lot more conditioning than people give it credit for. A lot of times you see guys at the end of the meet, and it's rare to see someone pull more in a powerlifting meet than they do in the gym. A lot of times you see these huge deadlifts done in the gym. Stan Efferding, and I'm talking about huge deadlifts after doing huge squats and bench presses. I'm not talking about guys that only deadlift or guys that take token lifts and then do a big deadlift. Stan Efferding actually recently hit an 837-pound deadlift. It's an all-time PR for him at the end of a contest when he squatted 864 and benched 600 pounds. Or 865, yeah, 865 and 600, yeah, and then an 837 deadlift. Unbelievable. But you know why he was able to do that? He worked with Mark Philippi on doing a lot of hip work, hip agility drills to help with his hip. He had a lot of hip pain. But guess what? Guess what that led to? That led to increasing his physical preparedness for these powerlifting meets. I guarantee it did. Because he was working on some small muscle groups that he didn't have a chance to work on. And if you didn't see the video, you can Google it. Just type in like Mark Philippi or YouTube it, Mark Philippi and Stan Efferding, and check it out and look at. I mean, it's not an easy workout. He's gassed. I mean, he's not just stretching. So I bet you that attributed big time to him recovering from the squat, him recovering from the bench, and him being able to get down and dirty when he had to and pull that 837. Real simple things for GPP work are just dragging the sled. I like to drag the sled. It's kind of hard for me to say how far I drag it. I guess it would be 30 yards. Maybe it's more like, I'd probably drag the sled, I'd say, maybe about 100 yards at a time or so. I don't know, give or take 20 yards. Hard to say. I just go back and forth in my gym a couple times, and I count, I do several laps, and I count it as one, basically. But the further you can drag the sled, I think the better, within reason. And then you just want to stop for just a few seconds and then kind of continue onward again. But one of the things I love doing with the sled is just to set my clock or set my timer on my iPhone and just go at it for about 30-40 minutes. And that's usually done with moderate weights. When I say moderate weights for me, that would be about 3 or 4 plates, 3.5 plates, 4 plates, somewhere in there. So it's going to feel very light when you start, but as you get going, as you get cruising, it's going to start to feel pretty heavy. What I also like to do with the sled is in that time period of 30-40 minutes or 20 minutes, however long I decide to do for the day, I like to just keep pulling the sled for as long as I can, basically, without stopping. So I'll go forward, I'll go backwards, I'll pull it, I'll drag it, I'll do whatever I can with it. I'll put another strap in there and pull it, I'll push it, I'll just do whatever I can with it for that entire time period. Some other things, another simple way to add GPP is just a superset. Take a couple things at the end of a workout. I have an assistance day that I've been doing lately, and I'll take 3 exercises, I'll pair them together, and I'll go through it about 4 times. I'll do 4 rounds of it, and I'll sometimes do that 4 times within that workout. So I'll take 3 exercises, I'll take another 3 exercises, another 3 exercises, I'll end up with about 12 exercises, 9 to 12 exercises total. The rest period, right now, because I don't feel like I'm in that great a condition, I'm resting probably about 2 minutes in between sets, but I'm going from one exercise to another. Real quick example of what I did the other day was I was doing some overhead pressing and bent over lateral raises mixed with some face pulls. Kept cranking through that. And then I mixed in another couple other things. Another thing you can do is just you can simply jump rope in between your warm-up sets and things like that. I mean, there's a lot of things. You got a lot of options that you can do to help increase your conditioning, help increase your general physical preparedness. You can skip rope in between dragging the sled. That'd be a very easy and convenient way to get in some GPP work. You can also just ride on a you can ride on a bike. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff you can do to help increase your conditioning. And in your case, can you sprint and power lift at the same time? Yes, of course you can. Use your head. Make sure you're not sprinting before a max effort squat session. When you're trying to be strong, you can't go wrong. Strength is never a weakness, and that is it from supertraining.tv. Later.